old Ivy League. He probably felt quite relieved when I finally gave up the pursuit about a mile further on. In later years, I crossed a lot of lines to get close to people I thought would fix me, but I hadn't started boozing yet by this time, so I still had a few boundaries left. Jack Wilde would be off to Hollywood a short while after, but I don't think his story ended too happily. A lot of those child stars seem to have tragic lives in the end, don't they? Fame fucks them up at an early age, but when you're busy envying someone, you never think about the fact that they might have problems of their own. As a kid, I used to have fantasies where I would imagine having different parents. I'd see people in films or TV shows and think, why can't I be in their family? Diana Dawes, who was a kind of English Marilyn Monroe, she was one of them. I would spend ages thinking about how much better off I'd be if I was her kid. Let me be with Diana instead of these parents I got. The funny thing is, I don't even think it was a sexual thing at the time. I just didn't like my shit life, and I was looking for anything I could grab onto to get me away from the place I was in. It's not like I had the worst childhood ever. You hear horrific stories of kids going through way worse abuse than I did, and I hate it to look like I'm trying to put myself on that level. What I do know is how much things that happened when I was a kid fucked me up. Still now, to this day. Of course, the chemistry of everyone's brain is different, so some people might deal with a lot worse and come out fine, and others could have it really easy and still feel very hard done by. All I can tell you about is my own experiences, and given how dodgy my memory is, I can't even be too sure about some of them. I ain't got a clue what my story is going to look like once it's all set down on paper. I haven't got any kind of agenda at the outset, beyond a few things I want to set straight. I may be hoping I'll be able to make a bit more sense of how different stages of my life fit together. One thing I'm pretty sure of is that I'm not going to come out of the whole thing smelling like roses. You know that bit in Clockwork Orange where the main guy has his eye forced open to make him feel like shit every time he remembers what a rotten cunt he was? That's pretty much how writing this book is going to feel for me. Obviously, no one's forcing me to do it, and I've had my share of good times as well, but I can't be doing with my old shenanigans anymore. It does sometimes make me feel almost physically sick to think of some of the horrible shit I used to get up to. Even though it's been half my life since I first stopped drinking and taking drugs, I still wake up in a cold sweat sometimes, thinking about all the things I've done that I'm not proud of. But if I made a big song and dance about holding myself accountable for every new crime against humanity as I commit it, this book would get very boring very quickly. So I'm going to have to ask you to take it on trust from the kickoff that I'm trying to be a less despicable person these days, and that anyone who wants to judge me can do so at the full-time whistle. One thing I can promise you is that I won't be pontificating about how everyone else needs to get sober. I don't give a fuck if other people want to get high. I've had my go, and now it's your turn. And knock yourself out if that's what you want to do. Of course, if someone else can relate to my experiences, and by some miracle that helps them to be less of an arsehole than I was, then that's all well and good. But I don't want to be that cunt where it's like, oh, he was a rock and roller, but now he's telling everyone else how to live. Fuck that preachy guy. He's the last person I want to be. Just because I eventually ended up following Jack Wilde to Hollywood, that doesn't mean I bought a one-way ticket to La La Land as well. It'll be a few more years after bumping into the Artful Dodger till I met my own Fagin, a.k.a. Malcolm McLaren, who loved all that Dickensian shit. Once that happened, it was like old Jack had passed on the baton, and it wasn't long before our merry band of musical outlaws started picking record companies' pockets like there was no tomorrow. But by the time we realized that our light-fingered Svengali had spent all